In this video, I will be talking about myth number 46, which is virtually all people who confess to a crime are guilty of it. In today's world, mainstream media like TV shows and movies often portray crime in a similar way. First, a suspect is brought into an interrogation room where two cops follow the good cop, bad cop routine. The bad cop starts out by laying out overwhelming evidence against the suspect, questions the suspect's reasoning to why he or she did not commit the crime, and tries to intimidate the suspect into confessing to the crime. Then the good cop comes in and tries to sympathize with the suspect and tries to highlight the benefits of confessing to reduce a jail sentence or snitch out others who have committed a similar crime. The suspect eventually confesses, and we all believe that the suspect must have committed the crime. This situation is often played out because it is comforting for the viewer to know that the perpetrator was caught and is now off the streets. Most of the time, TV shows and movies assume that the confession of a suspect must always be true. However, this is not the case in the real world. False confessions do happen, and they greatly affect how criminal cases are solved. In one survey of American investigators, 77% of the participants believed that they could accurately tell if a suspect was guilty of a crime. However, other studies have shown that investigators are not any better at identifying a false confession than any other person that was shown the same evidence. In some highly publicized cases, the police get many false confessions from people who seek attention or want to impress others. In the late 40s, an up-and-coming actress named Elizabeth Short was murdered and mutilated in California. Due to her famous status, every media outlet covered the Black Dahlia case, and the police received more than 30 confessions to the crime. All of these confessions were false, and to this day, the police have not uncovered the mystery of who murdered the actress. Other motives for false confessions are that a person may want to protect an actual criminal from being caught. In some cases, people will confess to a crime in order to protect their spouse or child, as an example. Another reasoning is people with some sort of mental health problem may confess to a crime that they may have believed to commit. People who have troubles with distinguishing fantasy from reality, and those who believe confessing to a crime is a way to self-punish themselves for their real or imagined past actions are also known motives. The police are also legally allowed to distort or lie about information in order to try and make a suspect confess to a crime they may have committed. And the police have also been known to try to put enormous amounts of pressure on a suspect to try and make them confess to a crime. Eddie Joe Lloyd had a history of mental health problems, and he would often call the police to suggest ways on how they should solve a crime. In 1984, an investigator managed to convince Lloyd of committing a murder and rape of a 16-year-old girl, which costed him to spend 18 years in jail. He was released because DNA evidence showed that Lloyd did not match the person that killed the girl. In more than 25% of the cases where DNA evidence was used to exonerate a convicted criminal, the person pled guilty to a crime that they did not commit. The effects of false confessions can not only be harmful to the person confessing, but also to investigators trying to figure out the case. Going back to the Black Dahlia case, the police had to spend more time making sure that all 30 of those confessions were false, and they still have not found the murderer because of that. The police had to take all the confessions seriously, which distracted them from finding the real criminal. People like Eddie Joe Lloyd can also find themselves spending years in jail for being pressured or tricked into confessing a crime that they did not commit. A way the police have been trying to eliminate false confessions, or at least figure out who is lying, is to videotape interrogations from start to finish. This is helpful because investigators can study the best ways of interrogating suspects to extract the truth from them and to test the effectiveness of different interrogation techniques on suspects. And that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching.